All right, we'll go and get started. I'd like to welcome the 2024 champion of the WM Phoenix Open, Nick Taylor, to the Media Center. Nick, fourth PGA Tour title and finishing runner-up here last year. You're able to get the job finished this time. How did that feel out there?
Yeah, I had good vibes all week after the start. Was obviously in a position to keep going, but it was a pretty tough round to follow. Long 2 days. I think I played 30 holes 2 different days and maybe 12 in the other couple. But yeah, I didn't have it early on today and was just trying to hang in there as long as I could. It seemed like a bunch of guys ahead of us were making birdies, and to make a couple, 2 or 3, kind of making the turn to kind of still stay in it. And the finish was pretty dreamlike. It was, making all his putts when I needed to was a lot of fun, and the atmosphere has been incredible all week.
Perfect. All right, we'll just go right into questions. If you have a question, raise your hand. We will get a microphone over to you. Kevin, right here. We'll start with Kevin right here.
First of all, the shot on 16, the par 3, and just could you kind of go through just the game plan for that shot, what you were thinking at the time, and how the adrenaline might have affected what you were doing on that shot?
Yeah, the last I saw, Charlie was at 21, so I knew in the back of my mind I still needed to make at least 2 birdies, and the number and the wind was perfect for what I needed to hit. It was a 9-iron. I kind of started at the 16 in the background and drew it in, and it worked out perfect. And it was funny how our whole group almost fed off each other, the bad early on in the round, and then when we started making putts, we kind of could see it and did that in. So Hith made a putt there, and got the crowd going, but I also saw the ball going in, which was nice. And 17, that back pan again. I would have loved to have been aggressive on that pitch, but I felt like I've seen it too many times in the past. If you try to force it there, you can run it off into the water, and didn't want to kind of spoil my chances there. So the birdie on 16 was huge. It gave me a little buffer the last couple holes.
You just go right here to Adam.
Announcers were critical of your decision to lay up on 15. What was your thinking there?
Our rule of thumb is, honestly, if I don't have a 5-iron, but 4-iron going in, I've always laid up the last handful of years. And even this morning, the only reason I went for it was a back pin, which is super tricky with the soft greens to try to hit a wedge close. So I hit a hybrid just short of the green. I was able to make birdie, but it wasn't even a decision. It was it would probably have 5 wood, and it's my wedge game is a strength of my game, and it turned out there. Last year I did the same thing. It didn't turn out. So I was confident in the decision. I just knew that with how receptive the greens were, the wedge shot with the backboard there was very doable, and I thought that was my best percentage play.
I asked you last night about the change to the claw grip. Kind of got the short version, but can I get the extended album version of you and Gareth Rafusky and that change, what it's meant to you?
Yeah, it's been huge. I've probably my handful of years, a very streaky putter for 6, 7, 8 years. Had good tournaments, but was never the consistency that I wanted. And the reason we went to is my setup got much cleaner. My face rotations saw it down, and so we've done the same drills for a year, just constantly repeating them over and over again. And there's little ball position stuff and things, but the confidence that I've gained from doing it for a year, I felt like growing up, the claw was kind of a stigma. If you went to that, it was, you probably struggled on the greens. But for me, once I committed to it, I haven't turned back, and I've never putted better last year.
Ever putted better than this week?
Probably not. Probably not.
Yeah, right here.
Hi, Nick. What was going through your mind when you were lining up to putt on 18 the first time through?
I had nothing to lose there in a sense where I had a bit of a buffer on second place. So so many of these reads out here are very subtle. I'll use the pull of the valley a little bit here or there, but in the past I've overemphasized it, and it's kind of messed with my head. So the last 2 years we kind of threw it out, kind of feel the putt or the break over the ball. Dave's been incredible on the greens this week, reading them for me, and we've been on the same page a lot. So that hung on the right side and snuck in there, which was obviously great. But it was kind of a win-win in a sense where I had nothing to lose. If it missed, I finished solo second, and so I just gave it a run.
Okay, it's right here.
Hey, Nick, how do you deal with weeks like this where it was sort of like a mess from the get-go, a lot of rain, a lot of stoppages, a lot of delays? How do you just block that out, especially with not being regrouped going to the final round? That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
So how do you how do you just sort of just play your game? You're not really playing 18 holes a day like normal, so it's obviously an adjustment. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of patience for the week. To start the week, the wave that I was in got a huge break. You know, it was probably almost 3 shots. I didn't really see the final number, but big break that we didn't play in a lot of that rain and the wind and the cold. So that second day, be able to get in a groove early on and continue the day was probably an advantage. But yesterday was, a long morning, just kind of hung around all day and then played 6 holes. And we knew it was going to be a marathon today. I knew pretty early on they weren't going to repair, but both times after finishing the round and going back out, I was kind of out of sync. Today we've finished, I think, at 12:05, and they said we were on the tee in 10 minutes, so it was quite the turnaround. I probably didn't handle it great, but I really salvaged some good pars there, which just kept me in it for as long as I could.
Okay, back to Kevin over here.
When you think about last year and kind of this tournament coming in second and the win at the Canadian Open, was there any sort of a attitude or mindset shift, like in elevating where you feel you stand in kind of the top of the world in golf, or is that something you always believed was your game and potential? I guess how have those this past year helped?
Yeah, having time off in the fall was amazing. I've never really had that, having a bunch of family time. But I also, talking with my team, I didn't want to. In the past, after years that I've won or had great years, there's been a down year, and I didn't want to change anything, but emphasize that, let's keep doing the same things and almost try to validate last year. So coming here, I had a good third round last week, but really struggled the first couple days. Somebody played nice, but it was kind of a mixed bag. But, everyone on my team kept reminding me I shot one round over par this entire year. So the game was there. I don't know if I expected 60 out of here especially, but again, just remind me to stick to what we're doing and be as confident as I could. So yeah, that first day was probably I put out of my mind, but I drove it incredible, and I kind of got back to that the last 9 holes today, which gave me some more opportunities.
In terms of like where you feel you stack up in golf, like you've put together a great resume with great wins, Pebble and Canadian Open, like you've had some signature moments on signature stages. How good do you feel like you can be?
Yeah, I'm getting there. I think last year was a huge stepping stone in my career to play with Rom and Scotty in the final group, 1-2 in the world, and really stand my own, and gave me a lot of confidence. And so to ride that the rest of the year and win my national open in the fashion that I did was incredible. And it's been fun to be in those moments. I think last year I drawed a lot on for the Cane Open, and I've drawn on that for plenty of moments as well. And for whatever reason it is, when the louder it gets, I seem to get a little more locked in and zoned in, and kind of relish those moments. It's been a lot of fun.
Where do you think that comes from, that ability to channel that in the big moments and when there's just a lot of external buzz kind of outside the ropes?
Yeah, I don't know. I think just enjoying it. Everything leading up, I feel like, to playing kind of sucks. You're nervous. I don't eat very well when I'm nervous preparing for a round, but when I start hitting balls, I get comfortable. You're kind of in your own world, and it's the position you want to be in, but the leading up to it is definitely not how I want to feel. So I'm gonna just, again, like I said at the Cane Open, I'd want to soak it up as much as I could, because you just never know when it's going to happen again, and for it to happen again, 9 or 10 months later, I'm gonna celebrate this one as well.
Okay, it's right here.
Nate, congrats. You're obviously great on the greens under pressure. Is there a way you're able to create that kind of feeling when you're practicing, or is it just a natural instinct when you're on the course?
Yeah, I think you can practice as much as you can, but it's really hard to get in that kind of atmosphere, obviously, when you're practicing. But a lot of stuff we do is the basics. Stick to the routines, and I work on the routine a lot, which when you get in those moments, if you feel comfortable in your routine, kind of settle your heart rate down, it's just kind of hitting another putt. So again, I had such a good feel in the greens the entire week that I felt like when we just read it, it was just hit the putt and stay out of my own way, and that's what I tried to do.
All right, let's do Adam right here.
What were you thinking as you saw Scotty charging up the leaderboard again?
Oh boy. Scotty's #1 in the world, phenomenal player. So I knew, honestly, to start the day, I thought 20, or even after the second round, I thought 20 would be a pretty good spot. And Charlie and Scotty were charging up there, and it was the ball started to run a bit in the fairways and still putting lift clean in place. It was out there for the taking. So you had to keep making birdies as much as you could.
There was a lot of Canada love out there. How did that make you feel? What role did that play?
Yeah, reminisce of the Kane Open a little bit. It's a lot of snowbirds down here. A lot of people come down to this tournament that I know, even on the West Coast and all over Canada. So the support was incredible. Little rivalry, feel like a USA chance and go Canada. It was pretty fun to be around. So it was fun all week.
I know Adam Hadwin was out there. Did he fare a little better this time?
He pointed out he wore the same outfit, but he dodged security this time, so that's good.
Well, lastly, Nick, obviously 2 big opportunities to represent your country coming up later this year with the Olympics in Paris, and then obviously the President's Cup at Royal Montreal. Maybe just talk a little bit about those 2 opportunities, and like you said, it was kind of a USA-Canada rivalry there on the playoff.
Yeah, this fall, again, looking at goals for the season, what I've done so well, I think the last year has been process goals, but those, you want something to look for, and the Olympics and the President's Cup were big time on the top of my goal list. So I knew playing good golf would take care of that. This is obviously a good start, I hope. So I would love nothing more to play in those 2 events and keep playing well here, obviously. But there's a lot of great events coming up. I kept saying that this year that, there's a lot of signature events. Obviously, this one was a home game, and the Masters was only my second time playing. So I had a lot to look forward to and kind of keep my head down and grind. So couldn't ask for a better start.
Great. All right. Well, Nick, congratulations again.
Thanks so much. Thank you.